LoreWarrior Armor Double Feature Tokugawa Heavy Tank Overview. The first Tokugawa heavy tanks were designed by the DCMS Procurement Division and manufactured at numerous sites throughout the Draconis Combine during the First Succession War. By the 31st century, the number of firms manufacturing the design had dwindled to one, Buda Imperial Vehicles of Luthien. To remedy this situation, Gunji no Kanrei Theodore Kurita commissioned Bulldog Enterprises of Proserpina to produce Tokugawas. The first Bulldog Enterprises Tokugawa would appear in 3046. Shortly after the Combine's defeat of the clans on Luthien, Buda and Bulldog began a joint research project to create an improved Tokugawa. Research would continue until 3053, with the new Tokugawa rolling out from Buda plant in November of that year. Capabilities. A Nissan 220 fusion unit powers the upgraded Tokugawa, and this compact power plant enables the Tokugawa to carry an impressive arsenal of weaponry, which includes a pair of diverse optics Type 20P pulse lasers, these lasers providing effective firepower within 180 meters. The design's arsenal also features a turret-mounted Ayukawa Slapper SRM unit fitted with an Artemis fire control system. But perhaps the most impressive weapon that the vehicle carries is the Imperator Code Red autocannon, which can fire a diverse range of ammo types. The Imperator system can be purchased only from Imperator Automatic Weapons in the Free Worlds League, which has led to some observers speculating that Imperator has been instructed by Thomas Marek to provide Buda and Bulldog favoured buyer status. Deployment. A number of new Tokugawas have been shipped to units along the clan frontier, though the largest concentration remains on Luthien itself. So far, observers can confirm only a single instance of it having seen action in the defence of Kilmarnock against Clan Novacat. In that engagement, forces attached to the 1st Amphigean LAG used Tokugawas to contain clan battle-armoured infantry units. 3058 Upgrade Overview. Although regarded by many as a modern design, the first Tokugawa heavy tanks were designed by the DCMS during the First Succession War, but by the Fourth Succession War, most plants have been retooled or destroyed. Only Buda Imperial Vehicles of Luthien would continue to produce the design, and that in limited numbers. After the War of 3039, Gunji no Kanrei Theodore Kurita commissioned Bulldog Enterprises of Proserpina to produce Tokugawas, and the first of their models would appear in 3046. The resurgent design would see heavy action on the clan invasion, particularly at the Battle of Luthien, and in the wake of this action, Buda and Bulldog produced an improved version of it that entered service in 3053. The design played a significant role in Operation Bulldog, and also the border wars with the Ghost Bears and the Federated Sons. Capabilities. The upgraded Tokugawa excels at short and mid-range combat, mixing missile, laser, and ballistic weaponry. The turret-mounted missile and autocannon provide the main offensive power, able to track any targets that approach the vehicle, but the chassis-mounted diverse optics lasers provide additional firepower and can be triggered by either the gunner or the Tokugawa's driver. Deployment. Though employed in numerous border clashes with the Novacats and Smoke Jaguars, the Tokugawa's baptism of fire would come in Operation Bulldog, where it was employed principally as a defensive weapons platform. It played a vital role on Pesht and Matamoras, but also saw offensive use in crushing the Jaguar guards on Outer Volta. More recently, the design helped turn the tide of the Davian incursions during the Fedcom Civil War, and has seen action on the Snow Raven front. There, however, it struggled against the fast-moving clan forces, in particular, sustaining major losses at the hand of aerospace forces. Although the Free Worlds League supplies many of the components used in this tank, most notably the Imperator Code Red autocannon, it doesn't deploy the design in a combat role. It's believed, however, that Imperator maintain a lance of the vehicles as part of its security forces on Atreus, also employing the vehicles as weapons testbeds. Variants. No official variant of the Tokugawa exists, but in the decade and a half since it entered service, a number of common modifications have appeared. One replaces the turret-mounted missile launcher and Artemis system with a streak variant and an inline small pulse laser. Another employs an MRM-30 in lieu of the autocannon and carries a tag designator. The most common upgrade, however, reduces the autocannon ammo bins by a ton and instead installs a C3 slave unit, allowing the Tokugawa to form part of a coordinated assault force. This variant, usually commanded by a master-equipped mech, contributed significantly to the DCMS operations against the Ghost Bears and the Federated Sons. Notable crews. The Spectres. The crew of Tank 22 of the 1st Ghost Regiment distinguished themselves twice in recent years, once against the Ghost Bears and again in the liberation of Proserpina. In the clan conflict, the crew claimed 4 Omnimech kills, one of which was a solo effort after the clan pilot underestimated their tenacity and resolve, dismissing them as a mere vehicle. The Davians were a much more challenging foe, however, and in a bloody clash in the capital, the vehicle was hit in the magazine and suffered a catastrophic ammunition explosion. Observers claim that the vehicle continued to fight after this explosion, refusing to give ground against the AFFS counter-assault despite only being armed with lasers. When technicians forced entry to the vehicle after the battle, they found the crew dead, killed in the chaos, and legend is that the unit, it was the ghost of the crew who held off the Davians for so long. Secdet 2. The only Tokugawas officially operating in the Free Worlds, the Imperator Security Force Detachment 2 has found itself embroiled in the unrest that currently racks the League. Officially only allowed to operate in the Imperator complex, Secdet 2 was called upon to undertake a large policing role in the anarchy on Atreus after Thomas Marrick's unmasking, maintaining order in several suburbs around the plant. The crew haven't been required to fire upon civilians, to their great relief, but they do fear that they will be forced to do so before the crisis is resolved. The recent landing of Blakist peacekeepers on the erstwhile Free World's capital has exacerbated the situation, and Secdet 2 may yet be forced to take sides in this conflict. While Kuritan Marrick has assumed control and the Blakists are now allies, the Secdet 2 realise this could change all too quickly. But what does all this break down to with the Tokugawa heavy tank? Well, let me tell you, sweet child mine. The mass is 60 ton, its movement type is wheeled, it has a power plant that is a Nissan 220. It has a cruise speed of 43 kph and a flank speed of 65. Its armour is Star Slab 2. Its armament is 2 diverse optics Type 20P medium pulse lasers, 1 Imperator Code Red LB-10X autocannon, and 1 Ayakawa Slapper SRM-6. Now that is an unfortunate nickname because Slapper over here is what you basically call, it's a nickname for a woman who is a bit of a goer with many people, and it's an unfortunate nickname for that weapon. Manufactured by Buddha Imperial Vehicles and Bulldog Enterprises, primarily on Luthien for Buddha and Proserpina for Bulldog, its communication system is a Cypher ComSys-1, and its targeting and tracking is a Targetrack 717 with Artemis 4 fire control. Stat-wise, what does this translate as? Well, that means it has a cruise of 4 and a flank of 6, pretty standard for a heavy tank, similar in line with things like the Bulldog, for instance. It has a armour profile of 40 points on the front, 33 on the sides, 26 on the rear, and 36 on the turret, which is pretty damn good considering it's a fucking wheeled vehicle. That's a lot of big wheels for it to somehow be so heavily armoured. So yeah, it has 2 medium pulse lasers that point to the front. It has the LB-10 somewhere in the turret, probably the weird flat bit there. It has 30 shots for the LB-10, with that ammo located in the body of the vehicle. It has an SRM-6 also located in the turret, which you can see is split either side there of the turret, the 3 little bumps, and Artemis fire control in the body, with a 30 shots for the ammo for the SRM-6, also located in the body of the vehicle. The write-up of the Spectres, it feels very 40k with the whole, and the crew died, but the vehicle fought on for the Emperor kind of thing, because yeah, it's like the AI of the vehicle kicked in or something and kept fighting, and so, oh no, the crew are dead. Oh, that's probably, most likely, it's just there was someone still in the vehicle using the weaponry in the body, probably the driver. It is a weird-looking tank. If you could, I don't know if it counts as a tank if it's a big wheeled thing, I don't know. But a 60-ton wheeled vehicle with a pretty decent weapons package for what it is. Solid and cluster shot being available to it, SRMs, yeah, pulse lasers, as it says, it's a medium to short range combat vehicle, so probably better in urban environments, which explains, you know, the wheels being much more useful in those kind of environs. Definitely a type of urban combat lead for a lance. Good speed for what it is. Pretty good armor profile as well, actually. It can take quite a few hits before it gets taken out, which is a big plus, especially for a 60-ton vehicle that is, yeah, because of its lower speed, it is going to get hit quite a lot. Also, it's nice, again, a bit like the Poe before it, that we've got a tank that is largely focused around being a Kuritan-only design. It was nice around this point where the writers obviously started to create armoured vehicles that were more specific to different houses. So it wasn't just a case of houses were just arming their, their armored divisions with just generic kind of Savannah Masters and Bulldogs and Manticores and stuff. They started to add in the idea that, they all had their own homegrown materials and stuff like that, the same as they've been doing with mechs. So yeah, it's pretty cool to see these vehicles coming into the game a little bit later. Obviously, a little bit of a retcon as well. The Tokugawa, it's always been around since the first Succession War. We just never mentioned it in any previous books. But that's fine. It means that you can retroactively have this thing in campaigns that might be set around that period, or being able to use it as a special, as a one-off. Maybe it's a reward that some players can get for rescuing a Kuritan noble during an adventure, or having it obviously roll onto the field as this for the players during like a third Succession Wars or a full Succession War era kind of event, where it's like, what the hell is that? I've never heard of a Tokugawa before. This thing rolling out, and it's being led by an enemy leader, for instance, who's brought out this what would basically be like almost like a priceless heirloom of the period, because as it says that they were still being developed on Luthian, but I'm assuming it wouldn't have been with the LB10, because that would have been lost tech that entire time. So we'd have to assume that there was actually a low-tech version, which may have been an AC10 instead of the LB, with no Artemis fire control for the SRM, which would make sense because of the weight differences with the LB and that. So you could probably assume that Tokugawas may have been known about largely, but seeing like a first Succession War era Tokugawa rolling out with its LB10 would be a big deal that you can kind of surprise players with. It's also a bit different as well, because it's not just your standard armored vehicle. It's something that's very specific to Kurita, and as such, you can spice things up a bit. I'm not overly thrilled with the looks of it, but that's neither here nor there. Sometimes it's just the stats, and sometimes it's the story, and I quite like the background of this. So yeah, it's a cool tank. A lot of them are quite good in BattleTech. A lot of tanks just get looked over for the the big stompy robots. So it's not a surprise really. But that's the Tokugawa. Thanks for listening, everybody. As always, have yourselves a good week, and I will catch you next time. Bye bye.